Are you where you want to be physically? We all have health issues. We all have things that we'd like to change, whether it's how we feel inside physically or outside. There are changes that we would all love to take place. Well, part of self love, I've been talking a lot about love the last several videos. I am going to talk about self love in a physical way on how we treat our physical bodies. Our bodies are amazing, they are temples, they are sacred. And it truly matters what we fuel our bodies with. And I'm not going to get into the diet people should be eating because I truly believe one fit doesn't fit all, right? It's a lot more to that. So I would like to focus on that the fact that God is in us and he talks to us all the time. And so after we eat a meal, we should listen to how our body feels. If our body is not feeling the greatest, it's going to let us know. In fact, one day I was at a function with a group of people and I had brought my own food. There was food there. And I brought my own food and I was questioned, well, why did you bring your own food? We have food here. And I just let this person know, I said, I have to eat a particular way to stay healthy and feel healthy. And they kind of mocked me and they were laughing and they said, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You mean to tell me you think that the things you eat affect the way you feel? And I said, absolutely. So the foods we eat absolutely affect us physically, but not only physically, it affects us emotionally and mentally and spiritually as well. Our foods are huge. The foods that we intake, it's fuel for our body. And unfortunately, there have been thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of chemicals and new foods. And you just look at the market and there's a new food idea out there and you read these labels and half the things you can't even pronounce. And I was raised, which I am truly grateful for my parents because my sister and I'll just do a little backtrack. My sister and I were born and diagnosed. We weren't diagnosed until we were about a year and a half, but we were diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. And the doctor had said that we probably wouldn't make it to our second birthday. And we wouldn't, if we lived past that, then we probably wouldn't live past the age of 5. And if by some miracle we lived past 5, we wouldn't make it past our teens and we would have a really sickly childhood, like in and out of the hospital half our lives. And that's the prognosis that our parents got. And they said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something else. We don't have medical insurance. We don't want them to have this lifestyle. And so they ran into a holistic lady and she said, I can help save your girls if you're willing to do everything I tell you to do. And they said, we'll do anything. And so she told them to get us off of white flours, sugar, red meat, food coloring and dyes, and dairy. She said, get them off of all those things. And they went home and cleaned out the cupboards and they really only had 2 things left to have to eat. And it was bread, which still had a little dye in it, and pickles, which still had a little dye in it. But they gave all their food away. And I am super grateful that my parents decided to make this is a family lifestyle. This is a family journey. They didn't just put my sister and I on a strict diet. They made sure they supported us and they all did it together. So we had a lot of sickly years, a ton of sickly years growing up. But because they chose to do this, it really helped. It literally helped save our lives. So I was taught growing up, if you cannot pronounce it, if it's on the package and you don't know how to read it, then it's not good for you. It's just chemicals, man-made, and not great for your body. And so I encourage you to look at those labels. Shop the perimeter of the store on the outside, but the more you go on the inside, it's going to be chock full of preservatives and chemicals and things that make us sick. And they have designed our foods to be addictive. And I truly am kind of like a conspiracy theorist in that way. They've wanted control, and so they do it through our food. And so they um a lot of foods that are okayed by the FDA is not okayed in other countries. There's over 200 chemicals that are allowed in the US in their food products that aren't allowed anywhere else. In fact, I've heard story after story of people that will go travel to Europe and they'll eat the food in Europe and they're like, wow, how come I am feeling good? Like, I feel good. Like, I'm eating a ton of pastas and breads and different things, but I feel so good. Well, because the bread and pastas are different in Europe than they are here. And here they put a lot of dough conditioners and different things and additives, and that's what makes us sick. And so there's just a lot to it. If you're willing to look at how you're eating and listen to your body, God within will let you know. Sometimes you eat a meal and you feel super heavy and you're like, oh, I wished I wouldn't have eaten. Or, oh, I wished I wouldn't have eaten that much. Maybe, and I am guilty. Like me and my sister growing up, we had voracious appetites. We'd eat a ton. And just people would wonder where are they putting it because they're so small. And so that's one of my weaknesses is overeating. And so are we listening to our bodies when we overeat? Also, do you feel really tired and sluggish? Maybe are you constipated? Are you getting headaches? A lot of MSG is in foods to keep them addictive, but yet it has the aftermath of causing headaches. I can't eat a whole lot in Chinese restaurants because of the additives and the MSG that they put in the food. So there are so many things. Sugar is another thing. So I am going to go into detail of different things. The next several days, I'm going to talk about health and what's going into our bodies and how it affects our bodies. And I'm not the super big expert, but all I know is I feel better in my 40s than I did in my 30s. Now, I can't say than I did in my 20s because I felt amazing in my 20s. And I will talk about my journey and I will talk about my health and what I chose to eat and put into my body from start to finish. And hopefully it will give you some idea of how to listen to your body, because that's the key thing, listening to our bodies to fuel it right. And it goes alongside with our thoughts and our emotions and our spiritual too. So think about how you are feeling, because food does play an effect on our spiritual, emotional, and mental. So it's so important to recognize, how am I feeling? Well, foods affect that, and I will get into that later. So, hey, God bless. Like and subscribe to this channel, share it with others. I am going to remind you, I offer a 12-week Christian course for women, and it is a weekly Zoom call that's an hour to an hour and a half. And also you get a weekly one-on-one personal 15-minute call to help you reach your goals. I just went from, depressed and suicidal thoughts for 30 plus years to going on 9 years without any of it. And it's not to say life doesn't hit me hard sometimes, but I have the tools that help me get through anything. And it has been the biggest blessing in my life, and I'm here to share it. That's my mission and my purpose, to help Christian women heal spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So check that out in the link in the comments below. There's a link to register for this course. Grab your mom, grab sisters, grab a friend, grab a neighbor or a coworker, and come grow and heal spiritually and emotionally and mentally and physically with me. I would love that. And God bless. And again, like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.